Hey guys, how's it going? I'm back here with another video, and today I decided to bring this tutorial which a lot of you guys have been requesting me since there was an update in React Router DOM. Basically, I'll just go over what are the changes and how you can use React Router DOM in version 6. I do have a video in my channel where I go over a lot about React Router DOM. However, that video is kind of outdated, at least like I would say 50 to 60% of it due to the update. But not all of it has changed. So if you're also interested in seeing more about React Router DOM, I would recommend watching that video as well. But today we're going to go over a lot of topics. You will be seeing them being distributed in the timeline of the video. And feel free to ask any questions if you want down below, and the code will also be down below if you want to check it out. So with that in mind, if you guys could leave a like and subscribe, I would massively appreciate it because it will help push my videos to more people and just help me, will help contribute to the channel. So with that in mind, let's get into the tutorial. Okay everyone, so as you can see, I have created here a very simple React application. I just ran create React app and generated the files. Then I just deleted some of the initial files that came with the correct React app command, and this is all that I have now. I just have the app.js, the app.css, the index.js, and the report web vitals.js. I deleted everything inside of the app.js as well. Just left a little text saying hello world, as you can see over here. Well, the first thing we need to do is install React Router DOM. So I'm going to open up my terminal, and at least I have two right now running. One is running the code, as you can see, is running React. The second one will be used to install stuff. And I'm using Yarn, but if you're using npm, same thing, just write npm install instead of yarn add, which is what I'm going to be writing. And for me, I'm going to write yarn add, then you write the command react router DOM add 6, which will basically determine that you're installing the version 6. Then I'll press enter and it will start installing. Again, if you want to use npm, just write npm install and the command over here. So now the React Router DOM has finished installing. Let me just push this a little bit over here so you guys can see it better. We can start implementing everything related to the library. So for those who don't know, React Router DOM serves to create different routes in your application. So if you have a website, you might want to have a component render when you go to /home and a different component when you go to /about, right? Many websites have different routes, and in React, there's a very clear way to implement this by using the React Router DOM API. So the basic structure of implementing React Router DOM in version 6 is still very similar to how it was before. The way you do it is on your app.js, you'll come over here to the top and you'll say import from React Router DOM. Let me just put React Router DOM. Then you gotta import a good amount of stuff. First thing is you gotta import a browser router, but we usually change this to call it router because it is easier to write. Basically, this is a component you use to encompass all of the different components in your application that will exist inside of this router system. So all you need to know is that what we will do is on the highest level of our application, which will be in the app.js, before anything, we'll just return the router component like this. And for now, I'll delete the div over here because the app.js won't really have anything major inside of it other than the routes determining where the user will go based on the path, right? So what we want to do is just put the router component like this and close it after. Then we want to import something called routes. And routes is different. It didn't exist before. Usually before we would use a component called switch, but now we're using something called routes, which is just a component that you should put over here, which again will determine where in your router system you want to have routes. Now, what's the difference between the routes component and the router component? Well, technically, I can have inside of here a link, for example, an A tag like this, which says something like go to homepage, and the href for this might be some sort of path in our website. So I can have inside of here a link saying go to homepage, and technically I could click on here and it will bring me to the homepage. You can't really use React Router DOM components if it is outside of this router component. So technically, if you want to create a nav, like a nav bar that exists in every single page, no matter the route, we can do something like this. Because what we're doing here is we're just saying that when you go to your application, based on the route, you want to render the components that we choose. So this, whatever is above this, will remain the same throughout every page. You guys will see this a lot better, like a lot simpler as we go. But for now, just know that every route you define should be encompassed over this routes component. Then inside of here is where we actually start declaring our routes. So a route is declared by using the route component. So inside of here, let's for now create the home page, and the home page will be defined as follow. The path for it will be just an empty slash, and for those who are familiar with React Router DOM will know that this is actually a very common practice. This basically just means that we're gonna render the component when the user goes into the link that doesn't have a route. So like when someone puts the URL like google.com and doesn't put anything after the slash, just google.com, they basically are rendering whatever is defined for the route slash, the empty slash. This is just the main page of our website. Just think about it that way. And for now, what we want to do is we want to have 3 pages in this project, just as an example for you guys. So I want to create a folder called pages, or you can call it whatever you want, but I like to call it pages. And inside of here, I want to create a component called home, then a component called about, so like an about page, and a component called profile. So 3 different components that we're going to be using in our application. So we'll have 3 different pages in our application. For each one of them, I'll create a component by using my snippets. So we'll auto-generate, as you can see over here. And I want to differentiate them by writing some sort of text here. So in the home component, we'll say this is the home component, or the home page. Then we'll do the exact same thing for the about page. As you can see over here, we'll say RFCE, and we'll just say this is the about page, like this, the about page. Then we'll do the exact same thing for the profile. And for the profile page, I'll just paste it again and say this is the profile page. So now we have 3 different components that exist in our application, but there's no way to actually search for them. So I can't just put over here profile and it will show us the component saying this is the profile page. The way we do this is we'll come to our app.js, and for the empty slash, we want to show the home page, because when you go to the website, you want to see the home page. So how do we determine what components is rendered when you try to reach this path? Well, in version 6, you just say element, you give it a property called element, and you put the component inside of here. So I'll put the home component inside of here. It used to be different. It used to have a property called component over here, which doesn't have anymore. You could also use a property called render before, but this all changed. The way you determine which component you're trying to render for this route is by using the element property over here. So what we need to do now is create more routes to our application. Specifically, we want 2 more. The first one will be the about page. So I'll put /about, because when I go to the website /about, I want to render the about page. And similarly, we'll say the about component will be rendered if we try to reach for this. Then over here, I'll say profile, and we'll do the exact same thing. And you should see that just like that, it is working perfectly. I'm in the /profile and it says profile page. If I go to the /about, it should say this is the about page. And if I go to this empty slash, it will say this is the home page. If I go to something that doesn't exist, like I didn't create a route called this, it shouldn't show anything, as you can see over here. Well, what if I want to show some sort of error, right? Saying like, oh, this is an error page because there's no route defined as you search for. You can do that very easily. What you can do is you can create a component or a new component called error page, for example. And I'm just going to keep it very simple. All I'm going to say is error page not found. And I'm gonna save this, and in our routes definition, we'll add a route right at the bottom, and this has to be the last route you add in your routes component. I'm gonna basically give the path of just an asterisk. Why am I using an asterisk? Basically, it says that whatever exists, like whatever route you're trying to search that isn't one of this over here, will render the component called error page. So we'll know it is an error page, or yeah, it's error page, right? That's how I called it. Yeah, error page. We'll know it is that because you try to search for something that doesn't exist. So error page, and let's import this component over here at the top. Import error page from /error page. And you should see that if I try to search for something that doesn't exist, it will say this. Again, if I search for something else, it will still say this. But if I search for the profile page, it will give us the profile page, meaning it's working perfectly. Now, what I was mentioning in the beginning, that you can add links to, for example, to this over here. What I meant by that is, for example, imagine if you want to create a navbar, right? And I'm going to create a very simple navbar over here. I'm not going to style it at all. All I'm going to do is I'm going to use the nav component in normal HTML, and I'm going to put some links inside of here. Well, how do you put links? Well, I can use the A tag that exists in normal HTML, but you can also use a tag that comes with React Router DOM, or a component that comes with React Router DOM called link. And the link component is very easy to use. All you do is we can come over here, call the link component and give it a name for the link. So like in our navbar, let's have the home page. Then we can also have the about page link and the profile page link. So I'll put about and profile. Now you should see that they should appear. They're actually not appearing because we still need to add something more to the link component, but basically they should be appearing over there. So what we want to do is we want to add a path that will be directed when you click on this link. The path we want is at least for the home page, we'll give it the empty slash. So you pass the property to and give it the path. And for the about, we'll say to /about. Then for the profile, we'll say to /profile. And then this should be it. And you should see that the error is not here anymore. And we have 3 links at the top. If I click on the home page or the home link, it will bring us to the home page. If I click on the about one, it will bring us to the about. And if I click on the profile, it will bring us to the profile. So this is how you navigate towards different pages in React Router DOM. But there is a thing you should be realizing. Although we are in the profile page and there's no links in the profile page, as you can see, that basically just says this is profile page, it's still showing the navbar. Well, it is because technically all we're displaying in our application is whatever is over here will be shown in every single page. The only thing that is changing is whatever is below this, right? So if we want to have, for example, a common structure for a website where there's a navbar in every page and there's a footer in every page, and what changes is whatever is in the middle of that. Well, we can do that by adding a nav above the routes, putting the routes, and below the routes, we can add something like a footer, and whatever you add for a footer. And you should see that everything changes, but the things that are outside the routes component. So this is kind of how, how it works. It's not actually generating, changing everything completely. The only thing that is changing is whatever is between this. Now, there's a lot more that we can talk about in React Router DOM. And one thing I really want to talk about is the idea of navigating. I do have a video talking about how to redirect in React Router DOM, where we talk about the history API that used to exist in React Router DOM. But if you see over here, if I say use history, it doesn't exist anymore, which was something extremely important and now simply doesn't exist. We actually use something different now. Imagine we are in the profile page, and in the profile page, it actually also has a little button over here, which when I click on it, I want to be navigated towards the about page, right? We're in the profile, we'll have this button saying change to about page. Why do we need this? Well, technically, you don't not only navigate with links, right? Imagine you're submitting a form or clicking a login button, and you want to be redirected to another page. It might happen on like on events, on functions, instead of just on a link. So the way you do this is the following. We'll have this button in our profile page, and when I click on it, I want to be navigated towards the about page. The way we do this is very simple. What we do is we import from React.DOM. So I'll say import from React.DOM, and I'll import a hook called UseNavigate. So this is a replacement for the use history hook, which used to exist, and it is simpler in my opinion, especially because the use history hook used to cause so much problem. You have no idea how many comments I used to receive complaining that a bug happened or something like that, and I actually never knew how to resolve because it happened to some and not to others. But hopefully the UseNavigate has changed that, because all I have to do is I just have to create a variable called navigate. It's pretty similar to how I used to do with the use history, but I'm going to set it equal to UseNavigate, and now I can use this. This over here represents a function that when called will navigate towards some sort of route. So when I want to click on this button, I'll say on click, I want to navigate towards a path called /about. So the syntax is you just call the function and put the path where you want to navigate. And you should see that when I come over here, I'm in the profile page, as you can see. If I click on this, all of a sudden, I'm in the about page. If I go to the profile and I click again, it continues working perfectly, and it didn't give me any bugs, which again used to happen when we used the use history hook. Well, the last thing I really want to talk about is using params in React.DOM, because I mentioned that in the other video, and although it didn't change much, I just want to point it out in this one, so you don't really need to go to the other video to see how to do that. Well, what I mean by params is, imagine that when you go to a website and you want to see a profile page, for example, you might see that it changes based on the route. So like if I am in the about page and it's about/Pedro, it should show a name over here, like my profile page. It's actually not the about, it should be the /profile. So it should show the profile page for the person called Pedro. And if it is on the /Jessica, it should show the profile page for the user Jessica. So how exactly would we know which user we're trying to search for so that it would show different information in the profile page? Well, the way we do this is by using params. So for example, I'm in the profile page over here, and I'm going to change the link for the profile page a little bit, because now I'm accepting like an extension to it. You will say /profile/ the name of a person or the name of the user. So what I'll do is I'll just say /username. And this is how we represent it. If I want to put a username over here, on the URL, I'll just write 2 dots like this, a colon, and then the name of what we want in our, like, to differentiate. So in this case, it's a username. You could have put ID and differentiated by ID, but I'm going to put username. Then on my profile page, I can come over here and import the UseParams hook that comes with React.DOM. And then all I have to do is to create a variable that is going to represent the username and set it equal to UseParams. Now, what do I call the variable? I need to call it exactly what I called over here. So I said that whatever is after the profile in the URL, it's going to be called username. So I'm going to come over here to my profile page and grab the username from the URL. And now if I want to, for example, say this, instead of saying this is the profile page, I can say this is, and then put the username. This is the profile page for whoever is this username. And I'll even put an exclamation point over here. And you should see that it says now, this is the profile page for Jessica. If I go to Pedro or PedroTech, it should say this is the profile page for PedroTech. It differs based on what is up here. Now, is this useful? Yes, extremely useful. You can use this to create different profile pages as we're doing right now. I would usually recommend using IDs, like putting an ID for a user over here. And then when you make an API request, you grab that and make that API request using that ID. So with that in mind, That's basically it for the tutorial. I really just wanted to go over all of the changes, mainly changes related to the routes component, the switch component, anything related to the UseNavigate hook, which changed a lot. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this, because I felt that YouTube was kind of lacking videos on the updated version of React Router DOM. So if you really like this video, leave a like down below and comment what you want to see next. Subscribe, because I'm posting once or twice a week depending on the week, and I'm gonna continue posting out content for you guys. And yeah, check out the code below if you enjoyed it, leave a like, and I see you guys next time.